Secondhand Overland. I'm your host, Matt Kester. Today we're talking about another GMRS radio, and it's this little guy right here. This is the RB19P from Retevis. This is like, well, you can see that it's small and it's quite interesting because this thing is like the shape and size of a candy bar phone from the early 2000s.
Hello? What were you up to, man? Yeah, no, I was just working on getting to the next level on Snake, but you called me and interrupted it, dude. What's going on?
While this thing might look like a toy, it's actually a very fully functional GMRS radio. And starting with what it is, well, this is what's the rating they say here? So this little guy is rated at greater than or equal to 3 watts of output on its highest setting. Now it does not have a removable antenna, so I could not connect it to a load meter to figure out what it's actually putting out, but suffice it to say, for what it is and how compact it actually is quite powerful. I guess one way to think of this guy, because it's small, it's lightweight, like it's only about 3 watts, where does this fit into the hierarchy of GMRS radios? And I think a good analogy to use this, because let's face it, a lot of the people that are buying GMRS radios are also gun people. So I'll make an analogy for you. So consider a mobile or a base station like the Midland MXT275 or the Radiodity DB20 or something like a Ocean KG1000G or a Baofeng BTEC 50X1. Consider those like your long guns. They're more powerful. They generally are more accurate or more finite or just a more precise instrument for doing something, and they pack a bigger punch, but they are also in a bigger form factor that isn't easily toted around by a person. So you'd go to handhelds, and handhelds are kind of like handguns. They can be fairly feature laden, but generally speaking, they lack the power and performance of the bigger gun, or the bigger radio in this case. But that doesn't mean that you should discount them, because they can still do some damage. And for me, like, my RT76P is kind of like my Glock 21. It's a big, full-featured, full-frame, loaded to the teeth handgun, or handheld in this case, that's capable of doing a lot of things and doing a lot of things well, but you pay for that in the expense of size and weight. The next step down is like my RB26, which takes away some of the features of the RT76P, like taking the ability to actually adjust settings on the radio itself away and making you have to go to a computer to do that, but it decreases the form factor, and it's supposedly rated at about 3 watts. It is very on par with the performance of the RT76P, but it's in a smaller form factor. It's a little lighter, it's a little bit easier to put in a pocket or a pouch, and to make that analogy, it'd be like stepping down from that Glock 21 into something like a Glock 19, where it's kind of like the midway, mid-balanced kind of a deal. Well, until recently, if I wanted to go to the smallest radio that I could possibly carry, that was the Midland X-Talkers, which was capable of simplex talking on GMRS and utilizing CTCSS codes, but beyond that, it wasn't that capable. It doesn't have the ability to do DCS codes. It also doesn't have the ability to use repeaters. Well, that's changed with basically what's the addition of one of the single stack 9mm models, this guy. Very slim, less than an inch on the chassis itself. It does have a clip here that adds to the thickness, but overall less than an inch thick, less than 7 inches long, and its weight is under 5 ounces. It's got a 2000 milliamp hour battery, which I'm told puts it kind of on par with a modern cell phone on its standby time. Haven't had the ability to take it out to the field to really review what it does long term using it a lot, but this thing fits the bill as the concealed carry version of your GMRS radio. You can literally put this in your pants pocket and walk around like it's nothing, like it's your cell phone. It's actually smaller and lighter than my iPhone 11 Pro that's sitting in an OtterBox case. You get this small radio, and it's got only 3 buttons on the front, a transmit receive, and the power button, and you can do most of the functionality as far as turning it on and off and adjusting the volume and the channels you want to go to. You can also use it as a NOAA weather radio. It does have those channels pre-programmed into it, so you'll always know what the weather is. But this is the kind of thing that you can throw in any bag or any outfit and always have it with you, and that's why it, to me, feels like the single stack 9mm version of GMRS. It's concealed, but I've got a fully functional radio. As it comes, like any other Retevis, it's gonna come with the manual that you can, let's face it, it can be better written because it's not written by somebody who is a native English speaker. I get that, whatever, we're getting cheap radios here, so I'm not too finicky, but what I am finicky about, one thing that Retevis always does is they set their radios with CTCSS codes and DCS codes that don't really make sense for most people. Honestly, if you're gonna sell this and it isn't radio programmable on the face, it should probably be sold wide open, but that's another point for another time. Now, if you spend the extra $9, which I would encourage you to do if you're going to buy this, and get the actual programming cable for it, which actually is a USB-C, because this thing has the only port in it being a USB-C port, but the cable that it comes with is only a charge only. It's not the actual cable to program it. So just remember that if you're gonna buy one, you're gonna want that, because when you get that ability to program it on a Windows PC, you can then get inside of it and realize that it is just like any other GMRS radio. You have the ability to set CTCSS tones as well as narrower wideband function, and it's repeater capable. I didn't just take it at its word for it. I've held off this review until I could get this cable in hand so that I could program it to repeaters close to me. And well, I went out today and did a little test while I was on my way home from dropping the boy off at school. It went a little something like this.
Okay, so I'm on my way home from dropping the kid off at school, and we're gonna go ahead and test this little guy out right now. I've got a repeater that's about 25 to 30 miles that way. It's the one that's on top of Towers Mountain up at Crown King, and I'm gonna try to hit it with this. Now, I'm pretty sure I can chunk it with this little guy, but I don't know how the quality's gonna be. So, to test that out, we've got a good old-fashioned MXT 275 sitting here in the Forerunner that we'll use as our receiving station to try to check it out and see if maybe this is gonna hit and feed back. Now, I can tell you right now, the MXT's hitting it. Let's see if the little guy hits it. Try to eliminate any kind of resistance that you're getting from the cage in the vehicle here. I'll just step straight out there and we'll see. Okay?
WRKX 996, repeater check. You are inside with the free water, about 30 miles from the towers, so I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, no problem.
Wow, so that worked. I legitimately just took this little guy, which is, well, I'm videoing on the phone, or I would show you for a reference, but this radio is seriously like the size of a early 2000s candy bar phone, maybe even smaller, and it's putting out 3 watts, and I'm able to hit that tower over there. Now, granted, the signal strength wasn't that great, but I hit it. Somebody could understand what I was saying, so if I found myself in an emergency situation, I just need to be audible. I don't need to be perfect or clear, and that's the idea for me behind this, having the repeater capability in such a small little package, is that it's like your little single stack 9mm. It's not the best. It's not the best gun in the world, hands down, but it's pretty good for certain applications, and it's good enough when you need it to count, which is in an emergency. Nobody gives a damn how crystal clear your quality is in an emergency. They just give a damn that they can understand what you're saying. That's all that needs to happen. And it's the same way with your little subcompact concealed carry single stack 9mm. It ain't gotta be perfect, it's just gotta get the job done. And this little guy gets that job done in a form factor that's very small, very easy to carry, very easy to stash into a bag. It's USB-C rechargeable, which means you don't have to carry around a big charger with it. Most people now who aren't iPhone owners already have a USB-C recharger in their bag for their phone, so one less thing you got to carry to keep this thing juiced up. And like we just proved, you can hit a repeater 30 miles away in an emergency and get a hold of somebody that you need to. Yeah, the radiophiles will probably jump on here and piss and moan about how bad your reception is, but who gives a shit? They hear you, and if you're having a problem, they're going to be able to understand it and get you help. And that's really what matters about it to me. I like it. And it's definitely going to be in my everyday carry arsenal of GMRS radios now.
We were almost 35 miles. It was 34 miles was the distance away from that repeater that I was actually able to hit and converse with someone. Now, granted, the signal strength wasn't that great, but honestly, if you're shooting for precision, you're not bringing your single stack short barrel 9mm, you're gonna bring the heavy gun. And that's not what this is for to me. This is for having something in your pocket that you can then turn around and use to contact a repeater in an emergency, or if you're close enough to it, like in an urban environment or something, being able to use that and have such a small, compact radio that's a powerful tool with you at all times. It's just like pocket knives or handguns or whatever you want to call it, but this isn't a toy. It looks like a toy radio, but this is a very loaded, capable radio. And right now, the list price on this radio is damn near $90, but let's face it, Retevis sells it on sale cheaper usually. Right now, they're currently going for about $40 a piece, and for $40, you legitimately get a real radio that's capable of all of the features that you need a GMRS to do in a very small, compact, lightweight package that you can throw in a bag or do whatever. It's also capable of split toning, which, duh. Okay. Some things that I don't particularly care for on it is the screen right off the bat. I don't know if you can see, it's already started to develop some scratches. That's just one day since taking off the protective label. Also, you'll see it blinks in the camera. The frame rate's just how it is. The refresh rate in the screen versus the frame rate of the camera makes it appear like it's blinking. That's not the case. It's solid, but these three dots that are in it, you don't really see well at every angle. It's not, I think, the most efficient way to do it as far as a user standpoint, but I do get it that like maybe this screen, that particular version was a cheaper way or a more cost-effective way for them to bring this product to market, so I get it. Again, it would be nice to be able to do all of those settings that are in the computer, that you need the computer for, on the face of the radio, but that's going to add cost and weight and size and complexity to the unit. So I get why that's not there. It just would be nice to be able to have that ability, which, you know, easily they could maybe make a version of this that was Bluetooth with an app that you could change it with your phone or something. Just a thought out there. Any GMRS companies that are thinking about, you know, a new line of products, would you go ahead and put a Bluetooth receiver in there and let us program them from our smartphones? That would be amazing. That being said, those are really my only gripes with this thing, because it is what it is. If I want the radio that I'm going to be able to adjust everything on and take the antenna off and switch antennas around and everything else, then I'm just going to go get one of my other radios and do it. But if I want something when I'm gonna go walk the dog and just listen to the scan of what's going on in the repeater traffic, or I want to throw something to the kid that's really simple for him to use, this is a good go-to and this is a good option for that. If you're interested in finding out more or potentially buying one, check out the affiliate links in the description below. I don't know. What do you think? You think that calling this a concealed carry version of GMRS is accurate, or should I have come up with another version? Oh, another thing, for those of you who live in the European Union where the service is available, this is also available as a PMR 446 radio, which I understand is basically your version of GMRS, a UHF radio. If you're interested, check the link in the description below. They are affiliate links, so if you purchase one, you're going to be helping the channel out, which is a good thing. That's all I got on this one. I'll be back with more reviews here coming up this week. I got a whole backlog of products that we're trying to push through. So until next time, I'm Matt Kester. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Frugal Explorer Dad. Check out the channel's Instagram at Secondhand Overland, or our new Facebook group at Secondhand Overland on the Facebook. Or go to our website, www.secondhandoverland.net, and pick up some of that sweet merch so we can start taking more trips and taking you along with it by you supporting this channel. This is, you know, like PBS, 100% supported by viewers like you and Google AdSense, but it's not that much money, trust me. Until next time, be good.